Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have with me Patrick M. Powers, and Patrick is a speaker performance coach, influence expert, and video marketing strategist who helps leaders communicate with calm confidence and real authority. He's the 4X author and a founder of Entrepreneurs in London, the world's second largest business meetup community with nearly 30,000 members. We're definitely going to talk about that, guys, because if you've built a meetup community that big, you've got to be able to apply that in network marketing. After going bankrupt at 21 and battling overweight and crippling shyness, Patrick went on to build a direct sales organization of 10,000 people and has spoken to live audiences of up to 7,000 people. He's been featured on the BBC 3 times, Forbes, and podcasts, including Entrepreneurs on Fire. Today, through his high impact method, he trains network marketers and entrepreneurs to build belief, lead teams that duplicate, and show up powerfully on stage, on camera, and in high stakes conversations. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Thank you so much, Jennie.
Absolutely.
It's awesome to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I really am, because even just in our pre-conversation, I was like, this conversation could go in so many different ways, and I'm really excited to hear. So how did you end up starting in network marketing, especially at such a young age, it sounds like?
Yeah, 21. So, well, maybe it's 22. I started a business around almost 21 or 20 years, around that age, and was a tremendous failure. Just been bankrupt and lost my house, lost my car. But I gained a dream. I understood really what it meant to be your own boss, that you can get up in the morning when you want to. And, when you get into a project, I can get a little bit of obsessive about it. And just like, I want to work till like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And that's how I like to do it, like really get into something and then take time off. And it's just amazing to be your own boss.
Yeah.
So my ego was bruised after the bankruptcy, and I was just wondering, how do I get into business with less risk? And then I saw an ad, weirdly enough. Can you imagine that? I got into network marketing by an ad.
I believe it.
In a newspaper, back then there was no internet.
Yeah.
So it was something about, making money selling health products. And, that was my business, actually being a holistic practitioner. And so I thought that sounded really, really cool. And it said something about, unlimited income. I like that even more. So, I responded, and I got this package of a physical tape, which was the guy that sent it to me. He literally walked around at a Herbalife convention and recorded testimonials, just randomly recorded testimonials. So this tape was just testimonial after testimonial. And I was like, holy moly, I'm going to be a millionaire in 6 months. Right.
Right. Okay.
Who's ever said that the first time they heard about network marketing? Right.
Yep. I remember that feeling.
So that's how I got into it. And of course, it was complete idiotic to think that way, but there you go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you got started then with a company with the health products. What ended up happening to take you to bankruptcy? I mean, what do you think?
So before that, it was just crazy. I don't know. I just hated being in a normal job. I just couldn't stand it. And I just thought, how hard can it be to start a business? So I was being a holistic practitioner at that point. I was on education. And so I thought, I'll buy the house and start clinic in my own basement. And I didn't have any sales skills whatsoever, any understanding of marketing. Like a lot of other people when they start in business, they think it's all about product. And I was convinced that the services and the method that I was using was just incredible and it just couldn't fail. And that, of course, was, again, I mean, it was just completely delusional. So that was basically the reason, and on top of having no skills, I was unbelievably shy, right? Because
Oh,
when I grew up, I was being severely bullied because I was very overweight, and I was
mhm.
kind of this smart, geeky, fat guy in the class, right? So I got bullied a lot. And so I didn't really like people. So combine no sales skills, no marketing skills, and being shy, it's not really a good recipe for succeeding in business.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So then you get into this network marketing company and you get started. What was different from getting started in the network marketing company versus starting your own business?
First of all, that there was a concept. There was a proven concept. I didn't have to make
Mhm.
up an idea, and there was some sort of upline support. All my upline was like, he had a lot to improve on, and then his uplines was in England, so we couldn't really get much support. And back then it was not so easy. Like if we were going to make a call, it would be an expensive long distance call.
Yeah.
So, but I love the fact that you had the systems, you had the upline support, there was a product, I didn't have to make up anything, basically just run
Yeah.
on this track. The problem was that I just didn't run on it enough. And it was just an excitement, just like many others when they start network marketing,
Yeah. So
pushing people. I
yeah.
remember what my one friend, I just kept on pushing, pushing, pushing until finally he signed up. And we actually did some stuff together and he was happy that I pushed him.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, and I think that's an interesting point there because there are some people who, if you keep pushing, that pushes the relationship to a stop. And other times
Definitely.
what happens is what happened to you, which is they
Yeah.
finally acquiesce and they're like, okay, I'll try it. I'll trust you that this is going to work. And
Yeah.
then lo and behold, look at that.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Something
Now, I
happens.
never recommend anybody push. Oh, yep. Well, see, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't push strangers. Okay. If
Correct.
it's, yeah. I mean, if they don't want it, just move on to the next. If it's a friend, sometimes I do get a little bit pushy. I can get pushy. If I really feel they have to try this product, like
Right.
then I can get a little bit, I wouldn't call it pushy, but I get very assertive and I don't just quit, just, at the first no.
Right, exactly. And the nice thing is when you're going based on relationship like that, it's a little bit easier to be able to have that conversation
Yeah.
because in your bio it talked about how, you're an expert in influence, right? And that's all sales is, right? Is
Absolutely.
a level of influence on the people that you're having a conversation with,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the closer the relationship, I think the more it can kind of push them, not in an obnoxious way, but it's like imagine that your friend had a serious drinking problem or drug problem.
Mhm.
Would you not push them to stop,
Right.
to reconsider? Well, of course you would. Like you wouldn't just like, oh no, I'm not going to go in rehab. It's like you'd be like, dude, wake the hell up,
Yeah.
right? You got to do something about your problem, right? And so that's how I could get with some people that I was really close with, and I got signups, and then had them come back and say, "My God, I'm really really glad you pushed me."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but I would never do it with a stranger or even like somebody who was like lukewarm. Never do that
Right.
because that just pushes them away.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, that makes sense. So, what would you say really switched for you in this network marketing journey then to go from, you were things were going slowly. This was back in the day of long distance phone calls and whatever.
Yeah,
What switched for you that suddenly now you started getting clients, getting
sure.
team members? What clicked?
Well, it was not a gradual process. I mean, it was maybe a gradual process. I was getting prepared for really massive explosion. So, like over 14 years, I was in about 15 different network marketing companies. In and out, in, stop,
Mhm.
retry. I was in Herbalife 3 times. I was thinking it was New Skin 2 times with different uplines, and so it's just like gradually learning more and more and more. And I think I reached about the 12th year in my journey. I started getting pretty serious about learning because I was starting to like, okay, I mean, I'm not a stupid person. There's got to be a way that I can crack this. Right.
Yeah.
So I started to be more serious about getting coached, learning. I was reading Tom Big Al Strider's books and pretty much anything I could get my hands on. And today it's like pretty crazy because I actually have visited Tom and his wife in Bangkok, and like we have a pretty good relationship. which is insane. When you think of it, like this many years later, back then I was shy, overweight, just completely desperate person. And then today I've reached many of the things that I really wanted to reach. So anyway, got sidetracked here. So in 2002, I was literally at one of the deepest points in my life. I was just so desperate for change, both in my personal life with my girlfriend. And, I was a temp agent working in a warehouse, moving furniture, and also taxi driver from time to time. And there was just some point that just clicked in me. And it was when she split up with me. And I can't stand my life anymore. Literally, this has to change and has to
Mhm.
change now. And I'll tell you, it's the most unbelievable thing because it did. I mean, it was just like that. Within 2 weeks, maybe three, I'd found a network marketing company that was literally the one I've been looking for.
Oh,
And but here's the thing. Have you ever heard about people saying, "Oh, I can't come to the meeting because it's 1 hour drive away
yeah.
or 2 hour drive away or whatever, I don't have
Right.
the time."
Right.
Well, this company was not in Denmark, and the closest meeting was in London. And
Okay.
so, well, I got to go to the meeting. And I couldn't even really get time off from work. And my boss said, I said to boss, I need to go to London for 4 days. And they said, well, like, we can't necessarily give you time off. And I said, well, that's okay. If the job is here when I come back, that's fine. If it's not, it's also fine. I gotta go. Right. And that's it. So went, took away the last kind of doubt that I had about the company from the meetings I was at, and then went home and started working. And again, it was not even in Denmark, and I didn't care. Like, there was just, we had to find a way. We were going to find a way to get the products to Denmark.
Yeah.
There was like in my mind, there was absolutely no doubt. This is it. And I don't care how hard it's going to be. I don't care how many people will say no to me. I don't care if I'm not ready. I don't care if I don't feel ready. I don't care if I'm going to stumble. I don't care if I do presentations that fall flat on my face. None of that. It's just this is going to work, and I have to make it work because I was the first person in Denmark. There was nobody else to, run to for help. I had to make it happen. And
Mm.
within 1 year, we're 4,500 people in the team. And then within 2 years, we're 10,000 people in the team. And that was it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, in building a team like that, I know that, having done something not quite to that scale, but having done something, at a larger scale than what most network marketers experience, there's different obstacles that you encounter along the way with sales and team and all of that. So, what was one of the big obstacles that you encountered and overcame in the process of building a large team like that?
Well, for us in Denmark, it was actually logistics, getting the products to Denmark and
Okay.
products disappearing in the shipping and then keeping. And I think this is an absolute key skill. And back then, I actually don't understood that it was a key skill. It was just something I kind of intuitively did. And that was adjusting people's focus, right? And
Mm.
today I've learned that, and it's, by the way, something I learned from this guy, and he's written some incredible books called, the first one I read was Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Okay.
Have you read that?
I haven't
That's
read it, but I've
actually
heard
a
of it.
fictionary story, but he's
Okay.
also done nonfiction. And this guy is incredible. And he got me to understand what one of the biggest parts of leadership is, and that's adjusting people's focus. So what I mean by that is, like, shit happens all the time, right?
Mhm.
And when shit happens, so like late delivery, suddenly people's focus shift from, oh, this is a great opportunity and we're going to go out and look for people and we're going to make lots of money and make people happy. Suddenly their focus shifts to, oh my God, our delivery is late. This sucks. It's not going to
Mhm.
work. My customers are unhappy. They're complaining. My team is unhappy. That's their focus. And then you have to, as a leader, shift them back to focusing on the dream, the outcome.
Yeah.
And that is major, major thing. And that I think that's, back then I just kind of did it because I was so strong in my vision. Like, guys, okay, yes, we had problems with delivery. We'll handle it. In some ways, we'll handle it. Like, we'll get, like, if products got lost in transit between England and Denmark, we will pull together and pay a little bit each for that package that was lost. And that's what we did. In fact, we kind of over time developed our own little insurance system where we actually paid £1 more per pack, so it will cover for any packs that was potentially lost on the way.
Oh, wow. Super smart.
Yeah.
Well, and I
But
think
once we had a whole palette of products, and I think it was worth like crazy amount of money, especially back then. It must have been at least like $9,000, and that got lost. It was just the shipping company couldn't find it for 6 weeks, and then people threatened us with calling the police, and like we're scammers, we're taking the money. And that time it's really, really interesting. But and I don't know where I got it from. It was just like, we just have to move forward. There was
Yeah.
just like a year before that, I would have like been scared. I mean, super scared when something like that happened. And I'm like, no, we're going to solve it. We'll find the money to refund people if it's lost. We can just going to find a way. There's no.
Yeah.
And then after 6 weeks, the shipping company found the pallet in Czechoslovakia. Boom. And then they got it to Denmark.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it was logistic, but so many problems happen in any network marketing company where you as a leader, you have to shift the focus back. You have to readjust the focus back to the vision.
Yeah, I would say that was something that I learned over time as well, as a leader, is being able to, when someone is having an issue, how do you know, bring them back to their why, bring them back to their vision, their dream, their goal, right? But it took
Yep.
time for me to learn that. So I wish I would have had someone like you back then, because I would have gotten there faster. Oh my gosh. So Patrick, as as you've grown a team like that, then when you have a team of 10,000 people, were they all in one country, or did you have them spread all over the European Union? Like
It's
how
mostly
did
in
that work?
Denmark.
Okay, mostly in
Yeah,
Denmark.
mostly in Denmark, a little bit in Germany, a little bit in the UK, and a little bit in the US.
Okay.
And just scattered around a little bit in Australia and stuff like that.
Okay. And so in having a team of that size, what is something that you again, what's something that you encountered and learned and then overcame an obstacle with a team of 10,000?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things to teach your team is to take responsibility for what happens, and then to show up, like for them to learn responsibility. You have to show up with responsibility, like take responsibility for everything. And so I took all the chances I had to teach them how to take responsibility. Sometimes by pushing them a little bit outside of the comfort zone. And requiring that they did. I explain, like, look, you're not just never going to get to your goals unless you get outside of your comfort zone. And so, like, are your goals really important for you? Like, do you really want to have this? And they say, yes. Okay. Well, in that case, you need to step up to the next level.
Yeah.
And I'm requesting that you do that. Are you willing to do that with me on your side, me helping you? So making sure that you don't stumble, or if you stumble, that I will be there to get you up again. And like, for example, starting to make an introduction at a presentation, which most people are super scared of, right?
Yeah.
So like, just, hey, introduce me. I cannot get up there and brag about myself, and people have to trust me as the presenter. They have to
Yep.
believe that I am the expert or that I'm worth listening to. So, and I can't get up there and say, I'm amazing. Right?
Right.
Because then they'll just think I'm an asshole, especially in Denmark. You just don't brag in Denmark.
Right.
But so I just thought, I need somebody to present me. And that's like, you're the one who's organized this meeting. So that's got to be you. And so I would request that they step outside of the comfort zone and then hold them to the promises, and just gradually. And that's been one of my main things, my themes in how I work with people, is like, I just slowly and gradually help them, or push them slightly outside of the comfort zone, or help them get outside of the comfort zone. And the more they do it, the more reason you have to praise them, right?
Yep.
And which is amazing, because when they do something like that and then you shower them with praise, there's something really magical that happens inside of them.
Yeah.
There's a rewiring taking place in their brain, where before, what was scary suddenly becomes like, wow, this was nice. I got recognized for this.
Yeah.
And then they want to do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then suddenly they stand there making their own presentations.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things in building big teams is that you have to delegate. You have to move the responsibility of doing everything. Like most leaders, which are not even what I call real leaders, but the ones that reach maybe 5 or 10,000 a month, they try to do everything themselves. And then when their team members say, "Oh, I'm too scared to do this," they just keep on doing it themselves instead of maybe finding ways to bridge it, finding ways to get them to do something that is not so scary, but just a little bit outside of the comfort zone, just a little bit,
Right.
right? And then just very, very, very small baby steps all the time.
Right.
Like, for
No,
example, just
yeah.
having somebody come and greet somebody at the door at the events, right?
Yeah. That's not scary. You know, one would think
Well, for
it's
some
not
people it
scary.
is.
For some people it
Just for
is.
some,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
No, that makes perfect sense. No, I love that. The slow introduction to rewiring the brain to be
yeah,
able to, it sounds like it's rewiring the brain to handle risk and
yeah,
um understand, right, that they're not going to die. You know, that was one of the
yeah,
comments I would make with some of my team members. I'd be like, "Oh my God, look, you survived. You didn't die."
yes,
You know, and I think that
amazing,
that that laughter was always helpful too. You know, to have a
absolutely,
a good look, even when sometimes it didn't go the way we expected. Because oftentimes the "you didn't die" came with, you know, it didn't go exactly the way we expected. It wasn't like end of the world bad, but look, you didn't
yeah,
die. Right? Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
absolutely,
that's a good point. I did not die. And I think that takes away some of the fear, right? Because, you know,
definitely,
that their brains are trying to tell them that if I take this risk, bad things will happen. Well, the brain,
hmm
evolutionary wise, is wired to keep you alive. So that's why the
yep.
fear feels so crazy, right?
It feels
Is
real. It feels
yeah.
real. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like,
I think.
go
No,
ahead.
go on. Sorry.
I was just
I
gonna say,
think the funniest moment, like, and where I kind of pushed somebody outside of the comfort zone was, and by the way, it's also important to understand if you don't have any relationship with people, you can't push them outside the comfort zone,
right.
right? The stronger the relationship is, the more you can push them. The more influence you will have over them, the stronger the personal bond is. So the more you spend time bonding with them on a personal level, getting to know them, and then for you also to open your heart and, like, for them to get to know you for real, the more you can pull them and influence them to do what they really is a benefit to them, right? But without any relationship, like, you're not going to be able to lead them. Okay. Um, but so here's an example, and lots of people say, "Oh my God, like, that's crazy you did that." But again, I had a good relationship with this guy, and in fact, so this guy was a super hard worker. He tried many, many like things with prior company, and he worked really hard for 1.5 years and got pretty much nowhere. And it's not like, oh, I tried a little bit. No, this guy worked hard. So anyway, he said, "Michael, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna move in with you for 3 weeks, and then we are gonna work. We're gonna live together, and
Mhm.
we're gonna work." And that's what we did. And then the first 2 days, he was super depressed because, like, he just hated his life and his career, and he hadn't had any results. And we got to know each other in these 2 days, and we started to work a little bit on the scripts and the mindset and a little bit. And the third day, we started calling, and it was just boom, like, he was switched on. Um, and within, well, the first month, he made, like, I don't know, in dollars, probably $2,200 the first month.
Mhm.
And then he went on to become one of the fastest diamonds in the team. He was a diamond, like, within 5 months, something like that. Faster
Wow.
than me, in fact. And so one of the things I did with him, we did what something called call parties. Was what we were getting together, small teams, and then making live calls. I would make live calls so they can hear it.
Mhm.
I will also call their prospects if they were too scared to begin with, and then they would, like, make calls, and I can give them feedback. And this is so unbelievably powerful for several reasons. Like, first of all, everybody sees like, oh my God, I'm not the only one who's an idiot. I'm not the only one who's struggling. I'm not the only one who's afraid.
Yeah.
Um, it becomes the normalized sucking at it,
Yeah.
right? And then, I mean, the learning is so fast when you do this. So anyway, this guy, Michael, he was calling and he was using a script. All right. And so he was reading from the script while he was calling. And that was great. He did like 3 or 4 times. And I knew this guy enough that I said, well, he's ready to do it without a script. And I said, Michael, next call, you do it without a script because it sounds scripted, right?
Mhm.
And he said, oh, no, I can't do that. Just one more thing, one more call, Patrick. And this was back in the days with, he actually had a dial phone. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, one more call. And he was looking at the phone, and dialing whatever. And while he was doing that, I took away the script. And then when he was like, hi, it's Michael, and he was looking down on the table to see the script was gone. And he was like, you could just see the panic in his eyes. Right? He's
Mhm.
like, he's just completely and then he just kept on, he just kept on talking.
Yeah.
And then it was better. Like, it was much better flow to it.
Yeah.
And so, and then from then on, like, he went on, became super successful. But that was an example of really moving somebody outside of the comfort zone, and where it was for their own best. But I could never have done that without the relationship. Right.
Oh, yeah. No, and I think that's such an important piece of leadership is, building that relationship with the people on your team, especially those who are direct to you. That's where the influence can really come in. So, oh my gosh, I could continue talking to you about this for hours, Patrick. Seriously, we're definitely going to have you come back and go into it because I'm sure you, with this many decades of stories, you probably have more that we could dig into. But before we go, you do have a gift for the Badass Crew. It is the Team Builder Blueprint. Tell us about that.
Well, so the funny thing is that everybody talks about leadership is important in marketing and duplication, but actually really, really few people really know what it's about. So it's about 15 principles that really you can take to the bank on leadership. And it's something that, for me, having been in the industry for so long, the more I am in the industry, the more I realize it really is about leadership. And leadership, by the way, is not just about mindset. So it's about practical things on how to actually lead in the field. What do you need to do instead of just saying, just go out and talk to people, get more no's.
Right.
There's some people that can do that. I was not one of them. My mindset was not strong enough to take that many no's. And that's why I had to develop a system that we can truly duplicate. And by the way, it's pretty amazing because in that team that I built to 10,000, I only signed up 12 people. And I really only worked with 3 of them really in depth to build a team of 10,000.
Now that's impressive. You only brought on 12
Yeah.
of your
It's pretty amazing.
10,000.
Yeah. And there was no top network marketers. Well, there was one full-time. I actually enrolled my former upline from a previous company, but she was like barely full-time. She was like $2,500 a month and has been at that level forever.
Right.
But there was no super network marketers.
Okay.
But I prescribed that system to what I learned from my coach, Peggy Long, which was an incredible, incredible coach and leader. And she enrolled 57 people over 4 years. And out of that, which is not a lot when you think of it, it's about one person a
Right.
month.
Yeah.
It's about one person a month. And out of that, 53 were still active in the business. Right. I mean,
That's impressive.
yeah. And then for 4 years, she built a team of 150,000 plus,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Well,
there
then,
are things you can do, absolutely things you can do to learn how to be a leader. It's not something you were born with. I am proof of that. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people fail, that they think it's just about promoting. Well, promoting is active income. That's active
Mhm.
income, more or less. Okay.
Yep.
But to go from that, that can give you to maybe $2, $3, $4, $5,000, maybe 10 if you're lucky, right? But to get to real freedom, there is just no other way than you have to learn leadership. And promotion and leadership are 2 completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
And that's what people never learn. They get to that level of $2,500 or whatever it is, or 1,000 or 3, And they just spin the wheels and they spin the wheels and they spin the wheels and try to do more and more and more and more of the same things. And then they burn out and then they give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
it's so sad.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. The number of people who I saw who had such great potential, but would not take that next step or do that thing that scared them or whatever it was,
Yep.
right? Who then eventually stepped back or stepped out of network marketing altogether was just heartbreaking because, you
It's super
see
sad.
what is possible for them, right?
Yeah. Because they can be
Absolutely.
this close to a breakthrough,
Yeah.
and many
3
times it
inches from
happens when they've
gold.
gotten to the, yeah, they get to this level where let's say $3,000 a month or whatever. And then they lose a leader or something and they get to 2.5 or 2,000 and they think, oh, it's not working. It's falling apart. And then they just quit. I
Yeah.
just wish that they know this is also just part of the journey that, sometimes you have people quit and you go up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. No,
as you say, I could talk to you about this forever, as you can hear.
I know, right? All right. So if somebody wants to get access to the Team Builder Blueprint, 15 leadership secrets that transform distributors into top builders, how is it that they can get a copy of this?
They can contact me on Facebook. They can possibly also find me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
but just under the name Patrick M. Powers. So facebook.com/Patrick M. Powers. And same thing on LinkedIn. I'm not so much on LinkedIn these days, but
Right.
I
No,
will respond at some
absolutely.
point.
Absolutely. So I've gone ahead and for all of my badass crew, they are very familiar. They already know that I've put the links directly to your Facebook, directly to your LinkedIn. But as he just mentioned, guys, Facebook, his preferred method for contact, and you'll get a faster response there. And just tell him you heard him on Badass Direct Sales Mastery. So just say, hey, I heard you with Jennie Bellinger on Badass. Would love the Team Builder Blueprint, and he'll send it to you directly. You don't even have to give up your email or anything, guys. This is an opportunity to just get it direct. So this is awesome. So Patrick, thank you so much. I'm so excited to share you with everybody. So this has been an amazing conversation, and we will definitely have you back.
Brilliant. Would love to.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Is there one last comment, one last thought that you would like to leave with the Badass crew?
You know what? It's so funny. Like sometimes I go through my notebooks and I find some old notes that, oh my God, I forgot this thing. And I did that with something the other day. And here's this quote. It's impossible to lead if you're a victim. And I just thought this is absolutely powerful because so many people get into victimhood.
Yeah.
Oh, this happened. And because of this happened, I can't do it. You just can't lead. You just have to be the person that say, I'm going to make this happen. I'm the creator of my destiny.
Mm.
Do not get into victimhood. The moment you fall into victimhood, you cannot lead.
Absolutely. I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. What a powerful, powerful way to end this episode. So thank you very much for being here, Patrick. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And of course, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.